Hi, and welcome to our first football show of the season on LowellSun.com. I'm Dennis Whitton. Now, we've got a short week this week with a handful of games on Thursday night due to the upcoming Jewish holiday on Friday. So let's jump right into things. Now, last week we saw impressive non-league victories from Chelmsford, Billerica, Tewksbury, and Drake, among others. But this week things get a little tougher for a lot of teams, especially Chelmsford and Drake. The Middies have their rematch with Everett High, which won last year on their home field in Everett. This one's at Drake on Saturday night, so the tables could be turned. Now, Matt Grimard is gone, but the Middies appear to have another good quarterback in Matt Silva, who's a few inches shorter and about 50 pounds lighter, but still scored 3 touchdowns against Marshfield High. Meanwhile, the Lions travel to Acton-Boxborough to take on what has become a difficult team for them, as the Colonials have won nearly all of the meetings over the last several years. Our Lynn Worthy caught up with Chelmsford coach Bruce Rich to talk about his team and the upcoming game. Lynn?
First things first, coming off of win against Waltham, defense was particularly strong in that game. What do you like so far about the team?
Our defense so far. We knew coming in we had experience on that side of the ball. We got some big physical kids, and they came to play Friday night. Waltham's a very tough physical team. They're well coached. We've had a nice little run with them now the last 2 years, and our kids really stepped up on Friday night. We had a good goal line stand. They had 7 plays inside the 5-yard line at the end of the game, and Keith Martin came up and made a big hit. They fumbled into the end zone, and we got it out of the 20. Nice game.
Okay. Now, your offense, you guys didn't put up a whole lot of points. Is that something that you look at as a concern? Is it something where you say it's still early? I know you got a new quarterback this year.
Well, we're very young in the offensive line. 4 out of 5 of the kids are playing varsity football for the first time. So we expect to develop and get better each and every week at that part of the game. Our quarterback is new also. He's been hurt for the last 2 years, so he's learning. It's work in progress. Our running back, Joe Gennaro, saw some time last year. He's only a junior, but he did a nice job. He was pretty solid. And our fullback situation is good. We've got Connor Adley back there doing a nice job for us. We're deep in the receiver end of it too. So we've got several kids, starting with Michael Ronan, who's one of the top players around. He did a nice job. He had some great catches the other night. We've got some other kids that we'll be able to go to, so we're not going to just be able to do it. So offensively, we sputtered a little bit. It was sloppy for both teams. There were several fumbles in the game, both sides of the ball. But our kids at least knew who they were blocking, and now technique-wise, we'll be hopefully better this week.
All right, and you mentioned being better this week, Acton-Boxborough this week, a rivalry game. Seems like you guys always play tough games, close games. Recently, they've had a little more success than you. What do you expect this week from AB?
I expect the same thing as always. AB is very well coached. Bill Mabry does a great job with that team. They're not overly large kids, but they're very athletic kids. Even in defense and offensive line, they're very fast. They keep it simple. They run that wing T. They do it really well. Defensively, they run a 34 defense against the spread, and more like a 50 defense. But they get a little trickier with that. They overshift their defenses, and they play some different coverages in the secondary. But they're always great athletes. You've really got to run a finesse game with them. You've got to be sharp in order to beat them. And, they have beaten us several times in the last several years. All great contests. I remember at least a couple of overtime games. Other games, including last year, they scored late in the fourth quarter to win the ball game. We're always very, very tight with them. We've only had one convincing win over us. So we like the rivalry. We look forward to the rivalry and to the game. And as always, no matter what happens, win or lose, we're always a better team for it when we come into league play.
Is there anything, any commonality that you see that always ends up deciding these games? Is there one thing or a couple of things that you say the team that does this is going to win the game when it comes to Chelmsford AB?
Generally in high school football, it's still a matter of mistakes. If the team that makes the fewest amount of mistakes is generally going to win the ball game. Both teams come up emotionally. Both teams are charged up. I think physically, both teams are generally even. We tend to, maybe make 1 or 2 more mistakes. We can count them all up in the end. We could look back and say that.
Thank you, Lynn. That game on Thursday night will be this week's live webcast Game of the Week, which you can find at LowellSun.com, so don't miss it. Last week's webcast game was Billerica's win over Burlington. Here we have a few clips of highlights from that ball game. Take it away.
That concludes the number 8, Ryan Donald. pass is intercepted by number 20, 5-2. Ball carried in number 7, hit the foul. Fumble on the play.
Okay, we're running a little low on time, so I'm just going to give you the best of Rick's picks this week. He's got Billerica over Woburn. He's got Tewksbury over Lawrence. He's got Acton-Boxborough over Chelmsford. And his upset special, Drake-It High over Everett. And of course, my personal pick to click, Lowell Catholic. See you next week.